Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. Sun Tzu. Sigmas are not like everyone else. They're thinkers, strategists, and masters of subtle dominance. They don't seek attention or validation. They thrive in their own space, observing, analyzing, and making moves others don't see coming. Their power lies in their ability to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast anyone who tries to challenge them. If you've ever felt like you don't fit into society's typical molds, yet you're always one step ahead of the game, chances are you're a Sigma male. You don't waste energy on pointless battles. Instead, you play the long game, letting others reveal their weaknesses while you quietly prepare your next move. This video isn't just about surviving conflict. It's about mastering it in ways that leave your enemies confused, frustrated, and powerless. Whether it's staying unpredictable, turning weaknesses into weapons, or using silence as a tool, these genius strategies will remind you why the Sigma mindset is unstoppable. Stay sharp, stay strategic, and let's dive into the 10 ways Sigmas outsmart everyone. Number 1. Reading between the lines. Sigmas have a unique ability to understand what's really going on beneath the surface, and that's where their power lies. While most people focus only on words, Sigmas pay close attention to everything else: the pauses, the tone, the way someone shifts in their seat, or even the fleeting expressions that flash across a face. They've trained themselves to notice the small, often overlooked details that betray someone's true feelings or intentions. This ability to analyze subtext allows Sigmas to see through facades. They can tell when someone's lying, hiding something, or even feeling threatened, all without a single word being spoken. It's not about mind reading, it's about observation and pattern recognition. A quick glance at body language or a subtle change in energy can reveal far more than a lengthy conversation. What makes Sigmas even more dangerous is their restraint. They don't confront people immediately with what they've uncovered. Instead, they keep the information to themselves, using it strategically when the time is right. While their enemies think they're being clever, Sigmas have already seen through the act and are 10 steps ahead, preparing for what's coming next. This skill isn't just about conflict, it's about control. By understanding the unspoken dynamics in any situation, Sigmas remain in command without anyone realizing it. Their ability to read between the lines is what keeps them unpredictable and untouchable, leaving everyone else playing catch-up. Number 2. Feeding misinformation intentionally. Sigmas understand that truth is powerful, but so is its absence. They know that sometimes the best way to stay ahead is by giving their enemies just enough information to mislead them. It's never random. Every word, every action, and every slip-up is carefully planned. Sigmas are masters at planting ideas and creating illusions that make their opponents feel like they've uncovered something valuable, when, in reality, they've been fed a calculated narrative. This isn't outright deception, it's strategy. Sigmas don't lie recklessly because lies can unravel. Instead, they reveal just enough of the truth to make it believable, leaving their enemies to fill in the gaps. And that's where the trap lies, in their own assumptions. By leading others down false paths, Sigmas create confusion and chaos, forcing their enemies to waste time, energy, and resources chasing shadows. What makes this tactic so effective is how subtle it is. Sigmas never make it obvious that they're steering the narrative. They might casually mention something in passing, drop a seemingly innocent comment, or allow someone to overhear a conversation. These small, deliberate moves are enough to set their enemies on the wrong track, while the Sigma calmly watches from a distance. The brilliance of this approach lies in its simplicity. Sigmas don't need to fight battles head-on because their enemies end up sabotaging themselves. By the time the truth surfaces, the damage is already done, and the Sigma is long gone, leaving their opponents tangled in the mess they thought they'd uncovered. It's a genius move that proves the power of patience, subtlety, and psychological precision. Number 3. Outthinking without overreacting. Sigmas possess a unique ability to outthink their enemies while maintaining an unshakable calm. They don't get caught up in the heat of the moment, and they certainly don't give in to the impulse to overreact. Instead, they focus their energy on thinking several steps ahead, dissecting every angle of a situation while their opponents are too busy reacting emotionally. This calculated approach allows them to remain in control even in the most chaotic circumstances. Sigmas don't rush. They observe, analyze, and wait for the right moment. Their silence isn't passivity, it's strategy. While their enemies are busy making noise, scrambling to make their next move, or trying to provoke a response, the Sigma is quietly dismantling their plans piece by piece. They don't announce their intentions or show their hand prematurely. By the time their opponent realizes what's happening, it's already too late. The Sigma has won without breaking a sweat. What's remarkable is the way they project calm even under pressure. This unnerves their opponents, who often mistake the Sigma's lack of reaction for weakness or disinterest. In reality, it's the ultimate poker face. The Sigma's calm demeanor hides a mind working at full capacity, always considering the long game. Their ability to think ahead while staying composed makes them virtually untouchable. Sigmas don't just win battles, they make sure their opponents don't even realize a battle was being fought until the outcome is already decided. Number 4. Turning weaknesses into strategic assets. Sigmas have an extraordinary way of flipping the script when it comes to their flaws. Unlike most people who hide or deny their weaknesses out of fear they'll be exploited, Sigmas do the opposite. They own them, but they don't stop there. They take those perceived flaws and turn them into tools, using them strategically to their advantage. This mindset not only neutralizes potential threats, but also transforms their supposed shortcomings into hidden strengths. For example, if a Sigma is seen as quiet or reserved, they don't try to prove otherwise. Instead, they let others underestimate them, mistaking silence for passivity or a lack of capability. That's when the Sigma strikes, while their enemies are too busy assuming they have the upper hand. By allowing others to think they've identified a weakness, Sigmas set the perfect trap, luring their opponents into overconfidence and poor decision-making. This tactic isn't about deception. It's about understanding and leveraging perception. Sigmas know that people often project their assumptions onto others. They use this to their advantage, subtly controlling the narrative and making their enemies think they have figured them out. The reality is they haven't even scratched the surface. What makes this approach so powerful is its unpredictability. No one expects a perceived flaw to become a weapon, but that's exactly what Sigmas excel at. They turn the tables in a way that leaves their enemies confused, frustrated, and ultimately defeated, all while staying true to themselves. Number 5. Letting enemies defeat themselves. Sigmas understand that sometimes the best move is no move at all. They possess a rare patience and self-control that allows them to step back and let their enemies self-destruct. Unlike others who rush to confront or retaliate, Sigmas recognize that arrogance and impulsiveness are often their enemies' greatest weaknesses. They know that if they wait long enough, their adversaries will overreach, make mistakes, or sabotage themselves without any interference. This strategy isn't passive, it's deliberate. Sigmas carefully assess the situation, staying silent and observant while their enemies dig deeper into their own traps. They let overconfidence, ego, or desperation take over, knowing that these emotions cloud judgment. Whether it's a rival exposing their true intentions too early or making reckless decisions, Sigmas simply sit back and let the inevitable unfold. What makes this approach so effective is how effortlessly it dismantles opposition. The enemy, consumed by their own arrogance, believes they're in control, but all the while the Sigma is watching, calculating, and waiting. By the time the enemy realizes what's happened, they've already lost. This tactic is also a shield for Sigmas. By avoiding unnecessary confrontation, they conserve their energy and protect their position. They don't need to fight battles when their enemies are perfectly capable of defeating themselves. In the end, Sigmas walk away unscathed, having won without lifting a finger. A victory as silent as it is devastating. Number 6. Always being an enigma. Sigmas thrive on being unpredictable, and they achieve this by keeping themselves an enigma. They're masters at revealing only what they want others to see, leaving both friends and foes guessing. This deliberate mystery isn't about being secretive for its own sake. It's a calculated strategy. By showing fragments of their personality and plans, Sigmas ensure no one ever gets a complete picture of who they are or what they're going to do next. Enemies, in particular, find this maddening. They try to piece together clues, looking for patterns or weaknesses to exploit, but Sigmas never give them enough to work with. One day, a Sigma might seem approachable and agreeable. The next, they're distant and unreadable. This inconsistency is intentional. It forces their adversaries to waste time and energy trying to decipher them, while the Sigma stays 3 steps ahead. What makes this strategy so effective is its subtlety. Sigmas don't actively push people away or create barriers. They simply choose what to share and when. They may offer a glimpse of vulnerability or share a piece of their story, but never enough to reveal their core. This keeps others intrigued but always slightly off balance, unable to fully understand or predict them. This constant air of mystery is a powerful defense. People can't attack what they don't understand, and enemies can't anticipate moves they can't see coming. For Sigmas, being an enigma isn't just who they are. It's their ultimate strategy for staying untouchable. Number 7, exploiting the ego of their opponents. Sigmas have an almost uncanny ability to manipulate the egos of their enemies without ever lifting a finger. They understand that the quickest way to defeat someone is to make them believe they're invincible, powerful, or in control. The Sigma knows exactly how to stroke an opponent's ego, creating an illusion of strength that makes them overconfident and careless. By feeding their enemies just enough praise, attention, or validation, Sigmas get their opponents to believe they have the upper hand, when in reality they're walking right into a trap. Once the enemy's ego is inflated, Sigmas begin to quietly dismantle them from within. They allow their opponents to take bold, risky actions based on the false belief that they're unbeatable. The Sigma doesn't need to act aggressively or directly challenge them. Instead, they patiently wait as the enemy's overconfidence leads them to make decisions that ultimately expose their flaws. Sigmas know that arrogance clouds judgment, and that's when they strike, often without their adversary even realizing they've been played. What makes this tactic so effective is how invisible it is. The enemy thinks they're in control, making their own choices, when in fact they're simply acting according to the Sigma's plan. By the time they realize they've been undermined, it's too late. Their own ego has already led to their downfall. Sigmas don't need to fight a battle head-on when they can simply make their enemies the architects of their own defeat. Number 8. Outlasting through patience. Sigmas are experts in the art of patience, knowing that some battles aren't won by speed, but by endurance. While others rush to make their moves, trying to outpace one another in a race to the finish line, Sigmas are content to wait. They understand that not every challenge is meant to be tackled immediately. Instead, they bide their time, watching how situations unfold, while their enemies exhaust themselves with hasty decisions and impulsive actions. What makes this approach so powerful is that Sigmas don't just wait for the right moment. They wait for the enemy to wear themselves down. While their opponents are trying to outdo one another, burning energy and making mistakes in their rush to succeed, Sigmas remain calm and poised, letting the chaos play out. They know that some games take years to win, and there's no need to force progress when it will come naturally with time. This patience allows the Sigma to remain in a position of power. They don't act on every opportunity, but instead choose the moments that best align with their long-term goals. When their enemies are at their most vulnerable, exhausted, frustrated, or off balance, the Sigma strikes, having conserved their resources and intelligence for the perfect moment. In the end, their ability to outlast their competitors through patience gives them an edge no one can match, proving that slow and steady isn't just a cliché, but a powerful strategy. Number 9. Underestimating their own value by intentionally downplaying their own strengths. Sigmas are brilliant at using reverse psychology to control the narrative. One of their most effective tactics is intentionally downplaying their own strengths, creating an illusion of weakness. While others boast, exaggerate, or flaunt their abilities, Sigmas take the opposite route. They act modest, deflecting praise and hiding their true capabilities. This calculated humility tricks their enemies into thinking they have the upper hand. What makes this so powerful is that by presenting themselves as less capable or threatening than they really are, Sigmas make their opponents feel secure, too secure. As the enemy grows complacent, they underestimate the Sigma, assuming they are easy to handle, but this confidence leads to a fatal mistake. The Sigma, always observing, knows exactly when to strike. By the time the enemy realizes the truth, that they've been walking into a carefully laid trap, the Sigma has already turned the tables. The apparent weakness they projected was just a setup for a much more significant move. This reverse psychology is effective because it keeps the Sigma in the shadows while their enemies make costly decisions. The Sigma isn't about loud victories or making a scene. They win by playing the long game, letting their enemies make the first move and then capitalizing on their overconfidence. It's a silent but potent strategy that allows Sigmas to dictate the terms of engagement without anyone even realizing it. Number 10. Weaponizing time. Sigmas have a unique understanding of time. It's not just a passing moment, but a powerful weapon. While others may feel the pressure to act quickly or force an outcome, Sigmas are patient. They know that rushing into a situation often leads to mistakes, and they prefer to let things unfold naturally. Instead of reacting impulsively, Sigmas use time to observe, gather information, and wait for the perfect moment to strike. This patient approach allows them to stay in control, letting their enemies expose their vulnerabilities without the Sigma ever having to rush or force the issue. By allowing situations to develop, Sigmas can see who their enemies truly are and how they'll behave under pressure. They watch as others make decisions, react emotionally, and often overcommit to plans that will ultimately fail. The Sigma, meanwhile, stays calm and focused, understanding that time will reveal the weaknesses they need to exploit. This approach creates a unique advantage. When the moment finally arrives, the Sigma strikes decisively, at a point when their enemies are at their weakest, least prepared, and most vulnerable. The Sigma's patient observation ensures that they only act when they have the highest chance of success, making their moves feel almost effortless. While others are caught off guard, the Sigma is already 3 steps ahead, having used time not as an obstacle, but as a weapon that guarantees victory. As I wrap up, in a world where everyone is trying to one-up each other, Sigmas stand apart. They don't rush, don't play by the usual rules, and certainly don't make noise. Instead, they take the time to think, watch, and wait, understanding that the true power lies in patience and control. They outsmart their enemies not by force, but through cleverness, strategy, and an unshakable understanding of their surroundings. If you're reading this and identifying with these traits, it's not by accident. You too have the Sigma mindset, the ability to think several steps ahead and to turn even your flaws into advantages. You don't need to shout your value to the world. It's already there, quietly shaping the game. Sigmas don't need to prove anything. They let their actions speak louder than words. So the next time you find yourself in a tough situation or facing someone who underestimates you, remember, you're not just playing the game, you're shaping it. You have the power to outsmart, outlast, and ultimately outmaneuver anyone who stands in your way. It's time to trust your instincts, step back when needed, and watch your enemies unravel. The world might not understand your approach, but that's exactly how you keep winning. Stay sharp, stay patient, and never forget you are the one in control. See you in our video. God bless you.